Bonjour lovely listeners, I'm Anne-Sophie and welcome to Life After Let's Talk Boundaries. So, I want to start with a little confession. I have definitely been that mom, that friend, that colleague, the one who says yes before I've even really thought about what I'm agreeing to. Like, oh, could you drive for the school trip on Friday? And suddenly I'm setting an alarm for 6 a.m. again. And you know, I think many of us are wired this way, especially women. We're taught to be dependable, generous, almost endlessly available. But the thing is, when you're always the reliable one, when your default answer is yes, you can end up carrying way too much until, well, something's got to give. I noticed it big time after my cancer journey. Suddenly, every yes felt heavier. There was this moment, I'm still not sure quite when it hit me, but I remember realizing that saying yes, always trying to be needed, it was, frankly, stretching me too thin. To the point where I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. And gosh, that's a little scary, isn't it? I see it all the time in my coaching. The pleaser habit, that sense that good people never disappoint, and the guilt that bubbles up if we even think about putting ourselves first, you know. There's this big fear, at least for so many women I talk to, that if we say no, people are going to be hurt, disappointed, or think we are unkind. Maybe you felt that knot in your stomach when you mean no, but out comes yes. And let's be honest, a lot of us grew up with the idea that our energy was like limitless, that we could just keep giving. Until suddenly we realize, wait, I'm actually running on empty here. And recognizing these patterns, well, that's really the first step. That's when things start to shift. Now, let's talk about what those automatic yeses are really costing us. It's something I wish someone had told me years ago, and I have to remind myself still, sometimes. Here's the thing. Every yes you say to something that isn't truly important to you is actually a big no to your own priorities. Every single time. For me, it was those small things, like skipping my morning walk, which I love, by the way, it's kind of my sanctuary, just because a neighbor needed a quick favor, again. And sure, it feels helpful in the moment, but after, I'd be left feeling quietly resentful and honestly a little bit depleted. And it doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's skipping your workout, or staying late at work while you're already tired, or saying yes to a birthday party your heart isn't in. The problems build up. Suddenly you're exhausted, you're cranky, and you're drifting from the goals that really nourish you. Whether that's rebuilding strengths, nurturing relationships that actually matter, or, I don't know, finally picking up that long-lost hobby. In midlife especially, I think we notice it more. You start to feel this pull to choose yourself again. But by habit, you're still on autopilot, doing things for everyone else. And let's face it, underneath all that, there's this tangle of guilt and obligation, right? But the cost is real, not just for our mindset, but for our health, for our hormones. Sometimes I wonder how much of that midlife exhaustion is, honestly, just years of saying yes to the wrong things. Just something to chew on. So, how do we actually change things? How do you go from the over-yesing, people pleaser, to someone who sets clear boundaries with kindness and crucially without all that guilt? I'm going to break it down into 5 small but seriously powerful steps. First, pause before you answer. I know this sounds simple, but honestly, it can feel radical. Try saying, let me check my schedule and get back to you. That pause gives you space for a thoughtful choice instead of an automatic yes. Second, check your priorities gently. Ask yourself, does this really align with what I need most right now? Is it good for my health, my family, my own well-being? Or is this just all guilt talking? Third, start small. Maybe you just decline that group chat you never enjoy or say no to a weekend event you don't feel up for. Honestly, those small wins really start to build your confidence. The fourth one is big. Be clear and kind. You don't owe anyone a long story. You can say, I'm not able to take that on right now, or that time doesn't work for me. I know the first few times it might feel awkward, which actually brings me to step 5. Expect discomfort, but not disaster. If you feel a bit awkward, that's normal. The point is to sit with that just long enough to protect your own time and energy. There is this stubborn myth that boundaries are selfish, but honestly, they're more like gentle guide rails. Not to keep people out, but to protect what matters to you most. And trust me, every little step counts. The first time I said a clear no, it was tiny, but it felt huge. And the world didn't crumble. In fact, over time, people started respecting my time more, and more importantly, I did too. So, don't worry about getting it all perfect. Progress is way more important than perfection here. Every pause, every clear no, is a message to yourself that your energy, your needs matter. I still mess it up sometimes, and that's okay. So, if you're listening and thinking you want some support or even just a place to talk it through, I'd love to hear from you. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about making space for what truly matters in your own life. Thank you for sharing this moment with me, and I hope you'll join me again next time for even more on owning your well-being. À bientôt!